have been consuming a lot of political content lately. I want to talk more about politics on my channel, and it's really got me thinking about who is making political content out there and how it's influencing people. On the one hand, I kind of actually want to encourage people, even those I disagree with, to make political content, because I feel like we need more voices in the mix who are truly just regular folks, who are not trying to make a career out of political commentary, who are not bought out by foreign interests, who are not bought out by massive corporations, who don't get their funding from anywhere shady, who are just literally just telling you exactly what they think. On the other, I feel like it's not wrong for content creators to make money off their content, whether it's political or otherwise. So in other words, I don't feel like it's wrong for anyone to make money off of their political content so long as they're upfront about it and they're not playing games. The problem is, even if you're not doing anything, once money starts paying your bills or letting you live a more comfortable lifestyle, it's natural to let that influence what kind of content you want to put out there. And I think in the landscape of political commentary, the issue in terms of how that influences people is that we're not seeing our own hypocrisy, we're not seeing our own cognitive dissonance, we're not seeing our own mistakes in terms of how we're developing opinions. So to give you an example, I was listening to Kyle Kalinske the other day on a Secular Talk, and he was talking about Asmongold. Asmongold, I never heard of him before Secular Talk started covering him. He's pretty massive over on Twitch. I think he's gotten pretty massive on YouTube as well. Just on content, he has amassed a net worth of over $5 million. And I don't think he started out covering a lot of political issues, but in the past couple of years, he's covered nothing but politics, and a lot of it has been extremely pro-Trump. Now, obviously, I'm a loud, proud, never Trumper, so I'm going to have my opinion on that one way or the other, but obviously I'm going to disagree with supporting Trump, but whether or not he's pro-Trump is actually not the issue. I don't know the full context of the live stream, but he insinuated that he doesn't read intentionally. Now, he got called out by his own audience because he clarified to them that he doesn't think he needs to read up on political issues before he talks about them. And when he got called out on that, he doubled down and basically said that as long as he understands human psychology and what people are likely to do, that's all that's required, which is bizarre. If human psychology is really all you care about, the only political issue you might have a relevant opinion on might be predicting the outcome of elections. But if you're not even reading, then you're probably don't have a pulse on the latest polls and surveys. So anyways, I could talk about that for a long time. But the bottom line is that it really infuriated me that someone could have such an entitled and selfish attitude. You have to have some massive reach with your content to achieve that kind of money. And to have so little respect for the fact that you are influencing people on political issues is just so shallow. So it kind of got me thinking about my own channel. Now, I am nowhere near monetization, and it's really not the end of the world if that never happens on this particular channel. I have a second channel called I Want to Save Money, where I do like little budget with me videos and plan with me's and monthly recaps and couponing and stuff like that. Still in the early stages. I'm running into some creative issues with some of the content, but that I would love to monetize. Have affiliates, maybe have some sponsorships once in a while, read ad once in a while, anything I can do for the channel. With this channel, I don't think I would do anything more with it as far as making money besides Google AdSense. And I'm kind of second guessing that. Like, that kind of feels like, okay, I can make money off of my content that way, but I'm still being ethical about it. No one really has to question where my money's coming from. It's coming only from AdSense, and that's it. So anything I get is based solely on my views. No one is here trying to influence what I'm saying. But if you want to talk human psychology, if I were to get monetized, it's kind of part and parcel of it. Like, that's going to start influencing what you want to talk about. I don't expect any YouTube channel to ever pay all of my bills or replace my job. I don't expect that. But let's just say, for example, that it became something I was truly dependent on, and I start making videos on topics I don't normally cover, and they're bombing. I might feel that that's a really important issue to talk about, and as a content creator, that might be what I want to focus on, but because it's slowing down the money, it's going to influence how I make my videos. So I guess I'm really just asking in this video, is there an ethical way to make money from political content? Because one thing I do worry about is, let's say I put out a video and I'm proud of it. I might be opinionated, but I made my arguments well. I put the video together well. I'm proud of what I have. I put it out there. And then I kind of realized after the fact that I was wrong about something. Well, what if that video gets a lot of views and I've actually influenced other people's opinions? That bothers me. I doubt I will ever be a creator that has any type of massive reach, but any video I make could influence someone else's opinion about politics. So maybe I'm just overthinking things and worrying too much, but I just feel like any video I put out there could influence someone on politics, on a political issue, on a particular news story. And that stuff does matter. And part of the reason this is so heavy on my mind lately is because I really do want to start covering more political issues. And I really do want them to be more deep dive videos. Like it's fine to set up the camera and just talk. I do that quite frequently, but when it comes to like deep dive videos, I need a more full script, and there are things that I want to quote and I want to make sure I read it correctly. And it's a lot more work and effort, but it's also worth all of that because I want to make sure I've put together something that is a bit more fact-based. This is my YouTube channel, so it's still going to include my opinions and what I think, but I just want it to be a better presentation. And I think at this point, I'm just kind of overthinking because some of the videos I've started working on as far as the script and what sources I want to use, then it kind of draws into question, well, what sources are you using? What if I, convince a bunch of people about something and I'm convinced that I've done my research right. I'm convinced I've got everything together. I'm convinced that I really thought this through, and then I find out that something was wrong with the source. In my case, I genuinely think I'm just overthinking things, and I probably just need to relax a little bit and just learn as much as I can and maybe educate myself more on how to do these things in a way that is ethical and is as thorough as possible in terms of information I'm presenting. Not to toot my own horn, but that's the kind of attitude I wish we saw from more people who did political commentary. Like, your attitude should be, oh shit, if I mess this up, the consequences could be crazy. Especially if you are someone who has a lot of influence or is trying to get to a point where you have a lot of influence. You have to have respect for the influence that you have on people. You have to have respect for the fact that your job or your part-time gig or whatever is convincing people of certain perspectives. If you are convincing people to support things that are unethical, that's something that should bother you. If you have supposedly the correct opinion and you put a video out there and it's put together like crap and you didn't do your research and there was no thought and care put into the video, that should bother you. If you took money from a source that you weren't very familiar with and it turns out that it's a foreign interest that's trying to use you to influence American politics, that should bother you. If you were offered money to change direction and start really pushing ideas that you don't even care about and you sold out, that should bother you. And I just feel like with content creation becoming more of either a goal or a side gig or a career for people, I just wish they would think about the consequences of influencing people to change their opinions and their beliefs. On the one hand, I feel like it's a great thing. I think it's cool that we live in a society where the average person can build something for themselves on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. And if there are issues that they're super passionate about, that's an outlet for them, but also an opportunity to reach people they don't agree with and to change minds. I think that's something that's absolutely amazing. And I want people, even people I don't see eye to eye with, I want people to enjoy that and to engage with that and embrace that. There's nothing wrong with embracing your passions as a content creator. I just wish more people had a sense of approaching it ethically. I wish more people had respect for what it actually means to have influence on political issues. So if you do make content that's about political issues or about breaking news stories, those kind of things, and you've never really taken a moment to think about what are the ethics of how I'm making money for my content, what are the ethics of how I share that with my viewers, what are the ethics of how I put my content together and what information I use in those videos, I would really encourage you to stop for a minute and really think about those things. I'm not telling you to stop making content about something that you're passionate about. I'm telling you to examine whether you're being honest with yourself and with your audience. I'm telling you to think about whether you're pursuing your passions in the right way. And that is all I have for this video. If you are not subscribed, please do so. If you liked this video, half this video, or even just a quarter of this video, please hit the like button.